Usually for the West, whenever we think about a big bad government, we usually think about a big communist power. In the 20th century, we thought about the Soviet Union, but since that country, went to shit, we had to think of a new country. And one other country can fit the bill of a suppressive communist government other than China. Of course, China's government isn't as suppressive as the Soviet Union's, but compared to other countries, it's pretty bad. And the people felt that in the late 80s. Not everyone, but a lot of the younger people in China wanted a democracy, and so they protested in Tiananmen Square. But whenever a suppressive government sees people conspiring rebellion, it doesn't bode too well. And it didn't. What began as the '89 democracy movement became the Tiananmen Square Massacre, the death toll being anywhere from 180 deaths to 10,454. Depending on the figures you believe. To a Westerner, the entire concept of a country, one that you've been educated to know as oppressive, being a functioning and liberal democracy kinda blows your mind. So a Westerner such as myself immediately thought of the concept. A China where instead of the '89 democracy movement becoming the Tiananmen Square Massacre, it became the 1989 revolution. A revolution that brought an end to the one-party state in China. And then I thought, hey, I can make a video about this, and make a video about it I shall. So here's the video idea. What if China became a republic? So just to add a little more background information, the protests in the '89 democracy movement were a response to Hu Yaobang's death, and he was a reformer in Chinese politics. He wanted China's government to be more transparent, and he tried to implement free market reforms, but that didn't make him popular under party leadership, and so when he died, the party didn't commemorate him. That's what initially caused the protests, but then it turned into a larger end to the one-party state. The protesters created 7 demands, and they are as follows. Affirm Hu Yaobang's views on democracy and freedom as correct. Admit that the campaigns against spiritual pollution and bourgeoisie liberalization had been wrong. Publish information on the income of state leaders and their family members. Allow privately run newspapers and stop press censorship. Increase funding for education and raise intellectuals' pay. End restrictions on demonstrations in Beijing. And provide objective coverage of students and official media. These were, of course, too liberal for the Chinese government, which led to dialogue failing. So let's just say the backing behind the Tiananmen Square protests turned into a full-scale revolution, and then since the government headquarters is in Beijing, we'll say the revolution succeeds. And so we get the Chinese Republic. All of the 7 demands are implemented as well as some more reforms. We're going to discuss these 4 things in this video. Those 4 things are the Chinese economy, Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Chinese politics. Let's start with the Chinese economy. Everyone knows that in modern day, China industrialized rapidly and is now an economic powerhouse. This occurred mostly due to a freer market economy as well as a boost in population. Of course, the main reason though was because that the Communist Party wanted it to happen so they can compete with other East Asian and even European countries. And this new republic in China, I believe industrialization would occur on a higher rate. Free market ideas were established in 4 economic zones in our timeline, and those zones became sprawling cities. With all of China getting the same treatment as those, I believe China would have industrialized much faster than our timeline. China would still be a manufacturing powerhouse, I believe, which makes them an elusive business power. So this new Chinese republic is industrially similar to our timeline, but more advanced. Their economy would have been booming for a while, which could diminish the USA's superpower status early on. Next up, Taiwan. As you may know, Taiwan was established when the nationalists fled from mainland China due to the communists winning the Civil War. Taiwan became a real democracy on that island, which completely contrasts the one-party state today. So now, in this new 1989, both of them are 2 democracies claiming to be China. It should just make sense for them to join together, so why wouldn't they? They probably would. There's not a lot to add to this, except the fact that with the addition of Taiwan, this could put the new Republic of China on better terms with the West due to Taiwan being backed by the USA. This could make China seem more of like an Israel-ish type country, a country that may just seem like imperialism with a new coat of paint, but I don't know if that would be the case. Talking about Taiwan sort of steers the conversation over to Hong Kong. Today, Hong Kong and China have a similar relationship to Taiwan and China. One's a democracy whilst the other is a one-party communist state. One is backed by the West while the other isn't. One is fighting for its own sovereignty while the other is trying to suppress it. The only difference between this situation is that Hong Kong was given back to China. Of course, today they don't seem like one country, but officially they are. So in this new timeline, with there being very little differences between this new Republic of China and Hong Kong, what would their relationship entail? So in this new timeline, Hong Kong returns to the Republic of China in 1997, like in our timeline. The relationship between them, though, is a different story. So in this new timeline, there wouldn't be that much strife between the Republic of China and Hong Kong. Things between the two, like borders, politics, and opinions, would be more relaxed. Of course, Hong Kong would seem a little weird to mainland Chinese people, but the two wouldn't hate each other like in real life. So in this new timeline, most people don't see the two as different entities like in real life. Instead, most people see them as one China. Now we finally go to Chinese politics. China's political situation could go down two paths: the British way or the American way. By those, I mean a parliamentary republic with a prime minister or a congressional republic with a president. I believe that they would most likely go with the presidential republic, due to that being the Taiwanese political system, and these two countries would be more closely related and would join together first. The main parties, I believe, would follow a British system though, coalitions and such. The parties would be a Socialist Party and a Libertarian Party. The Libertarians would be in power first, being the ones that led the revolution after all. However, the Socialists would be a big party due to the remaining communist sympathizers. Smaller parties would form coalitions with these bigger parties, and that would make the party system resemble a parliamentary system. That's about it for China's political system. All in all, this new Republic of China would be an economic powerhouse, encompassing more territory than modern-day China and being seen as a larger unified body. Under the new presidency, China would undergo new diplomatic relations with the Western world and beyond. And that's it. That's what I think would happen if China became a democracy. I hope you liked the video, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. Bye.